again. Um, like I said, this segment is now my science and technology roundup for this last week. Um, some of the topics I'm going to be covering today are FCC rules on a silly net neutrality complaint. Very important, guys. Helps define what is net neutrality, what isn't, and what other companies can and cannot do. Detroit uses an app to help fix the city itself, fix itself. Possible key issues for next election will more likely include net neutrality, guys. Very big here in the U.S. They've been trying to get fringe on net neutrality for the last few years. Um, so hopefully it won't happen. Um, then out of Japan, a company unveils a Laundroid that washes, dries, and folds within minutes. Wildlife returns to Chernobyl area. Very big, especially Chernobyl being the worst nuclear disaster since the beginning of the atomic age, guys. Um, and it will give us very big clues as to how long it takes normal wildlife to really start coming back in radioactive zones. Finally, a big piece of news out of Microsoft. New product lineup. Big thing I'm going to be covering, though, is the Surface Book. That's a very big item. So, without further ado, guys, I will be going on to the news. So, here's the link for the show. Show this for your first topic this week. Let's get here. Okay, so the FCC has rejected the first silly net neutrality complaint. Pretty much what happened was a company called Commercial Network Services complained that Time Warner Cable doesn't give the city, I don't think, or correctly, it does not, was abusing its dominant market position to reject um, commercial network services requests for free peering, which means they can hook onto their line and use it to help webcams in San Diego. Users access the webcams in the San Diego area. Um, this is very big because Time Warner Cable and Comcast and some others were at one point in time making companies like Netflix, YouTube, well, technically Google owns YouTube, Amazon, um, some other video streaming services to pay a fee to have a better lane for a fast lane other internet, so the users can use that fast lane. That got shut down with the FCC ruling that neutrality means this cannot be happening. You should not be doing this. It's not right. And pretty much internet is broadband is now should be considered a class 1 utility, which means it's up there with phone lines, water lines, and everything else that's class 1. The complaint ticket was shut out because really, yes, they're a small company. Yes, they're trying to use Time Warner Cable, but they're not a service that people actually subscribe to, like Netflix, like Hulu, like Amazon. It's just a open source. It's an open company that has a subscriber base but uses webcams, you can't subscribe to just use those webcams, so it's not completely kosher for commercial network services to try and do this. But at least with this, FCC has started to set boundaries, kind of like the first Supreme Court case, guys. That's helped set boundaries. That was an important item. So, in direct quote from the FCC, guys, here, let me show you where it is on the. We regret that you are not satisfied the attempts by the FCC staff to facilitate a more satisfactory resolution of the underlying issue. At this point, you might want to contact the company directly to see if you and the company can arrive at a resolution that is more acceptable to you. You will receive no further status on your complaint from the FCC staff. So with the FCC saying, no, we're not going to deal with this because it's between you two, it's two network companies trying to deal with, dealing with each other. It's not a network company dealing with a service provider that people are subscribed to. So that's just how that is. So yeah, that's very big news from the FCC, helping set boundaries on what they want to do, what net neutrality is, which is very big out of there. So on to the next really exciting thing I find is paste. The city of Detroit has decided to launch an app that has solved 10,000 problems within the city, which is amazing. The app is called Improve Detroit. It allows people to within the city directly contact what it says here in the city large enough. Improve allows users to easily alert the city to potholes, illegal dumping, abandoned cars, water main breaks, traffic signal breaks, broken hydrants. And they launched it 6 months ago, and they've seen that 10,000 problems been fixed within those 6 months, which is a big step for Detroit, since a lot of the auto companies have started to withdraw from there because there was a lot of maintenance problems. They weren't able to get you everywhere. But with this app, now they're going, okay, so these where our major problems are, these are what we need to fix. Let's get these fixed up. Apparently there's more than 3,000 illegal dumping sites that got taken care of. About 2,100 potholes taken care of. Running water was turned off to almost 1,000 homes that were 1,000 structures that were abandoned by people. Nearly about 500, according to the number, 565 abandoned vehicles were removed, which is awesome because it makes the city look nicer. That will want to make people move back in. 506 water main breaks were fixed. 277 traffic signals were fixed. A quote from the mayor of Detroit said the app has ushered in a brand new era of customer service and accountability for the city government, which really, this is interesting. I love that Detroit, of all places, did this. Um, like I said, guys, if you remember the last 10 or so years, um, Detroit has really fallen by the wayside. Um, so see, like Detroit launching an app that allows people to go, hey, city government, here's a problem I want you to fix. If you guys can get around to it, that'd be great. And allows the city know, oh, hey, look, we have a problem here, here, and here. Why don't we just go take care of all this? And hey, yeah, that's awesome. It's um, taken care of. So yeah, would be really great if like cities like Seattle or New York, um, Los Angeles, Los Angeles, Chicago, San Francisco. Um, hey, that'd be great because that way we can start getting more and more people into it, stuff like this, and allows cities and the people they govern to have a interaction that's more than just a vote. Because city governments do need to know about stuff like this, guys. It's very important. Um, because without a city government, we can't function as cities. So having something like this work in a place like Detroit, of all places, means it can work anywhere else more likely. So I'm really hoping, um, really hoping it starts to become more of a thing in other cities too. Because like I said, guys, if this is if this allows Detroit to become a better place, think about like a place like New York that's really nice place to live probably. Never been to New York. That's somewhere I need to go visit sometime. But if New York becomes a better place, if Seattle becomes a better place, um, it'd be great because that way we can see improvements. We can see better handling of things. And like I said, it allows more direct contact with city government and the people other than just voting. Um, so yeah, there's that. Then we have possible key issue for next year's elections. Like I said, guys, so FCC ruling that net neutrality doesn't mean this. We have Ars Technica bringing up that senators like Al Franken of Minnesota and Edward Mackey, both Democrats, would try and keep the FCC as the FCC as we know it today. Because the Republican budget proposal came out way back in June that would prevent the FCC enforcing net neutrality and allow internet providers to get their way. Because internet providers are suing the Federal Communications Commission and have exhausted all their other legal options. And so Franken is quoted saying, ISPs are certainly free to file those suits, but until they prevail, I don't believe they will. There is no basis for Republicans blocking the FCC from doing its job. Which part of me is going, why are the Republicans being so dumb when they should know something like this is big? It's a big issue. Net neutrality has come up several times in both the House and the Senate, and both times it has gotten defeated in some form. I don't get why things like this are happening politically. Republicans are going to be suffering from this more than likely. Um, Republicans are suffering as a party as a whole if they're trying to attack the FCC in some form. Because really, attacking the FCC on net neutrality when they're trying to hold on to on a voter base that is dying off and not concentrating on a voter base that is growing is asinine, in my opinion. So that's what's been happening. The Senate, says in the article, the House and the Senate proposals also prohibit the FCC from directly or indirectly regulating prices and terms charged and imposed by broadband providers, which is bullshit because the FCC is in charge of that, as far as I know. Because the FCC, because internet is a form of communication, internet is a form of utility. Same thing with cell phone, telephones. They set the maximum, like how much it should be charged. A lot of times, if it seems absorbent, they'll come in and say that's absorbent, that needs to be lowered. It was last year actually. Last year or the year before, when the new FCC head was appointed, which was appointed by, if I remember correctly, a Republican base, a Republican backed interest group, or interest group backed by Verizon, interest group backed by a special interest group to help to make the FCC weaker and bend to internet service providers well, and he just went the complete opposite way, like how all things people do when they get appointed to somewhere. So it was very interesting. As the article goes on to say, 2005, when YouTube was created, there was no net neutrality rules in place. And without net neutrality rules in place, it's been internet thrived. Now people want to come in and say, oh, well, the internet, we need to do something about it. Like I said, guys, internet is a form of communication. Like I'm doing to you, I'm communicating to you. So if I were to say, like I said earlier in my broadcast, what the Republicans are doing is asinine. Republican, I could technically get taken down for that. Because I made a statement about something that wasn't my own opinion. Because infringing on net neutrality is a form of censorship. Is what was the base of the whole thing is, guys. Internet censorship should not be happening. Should not be happening at all. Because really, guys, if we think about it, the internet is a worldwide thing. The U.S. should not be trying to control the internet. China should not be controlling the internet. Russia should not be controlling the internet. No country should be controlling the internet except for a world government that has certain rules and regulations in place. That would make more sense, because that way it's a worldwide government controlling a worldwide service, not a regional government like the United States trying to control a worldwide thing. in their corner of the world. That's not right. Because what I'm saying is going to affect a event 5 years from now in some distant corner of the world. That's pretty much what we're coming down to for this, because censorship and communication is key for the whole thing to work properly. So yeah. So guys, next year when you're looking at who to vote for, check up on their stances on certain things like net neutrality. Net neutrality, like I've been saying, guys, is a big issue. Net neutrality doesn't cover just communication, but ways people communicate. It'll affect people who telecommute, people who have to emulate on other work spaces across the country. My mother does it for a living. We've had to actually bump our internet service up at home, back at my hometown, home across the state from where I'm going to school here. Just so she can have that enough bandwidth to be able to do what she needs to be doing, which is important because that's how she makes money. So support her what she wants, what she needs to be doing. Besides working, because she helps provide our family with health insurance and other essentials. So it's kind of important for us, for my family as a whole, for things like telecommuting not to be infringed upon, because that's a way for her to communicate with co-workers across the country, allows her to work unhindered. It's a way for her to work. And if ISPs had their way, telecommuters would be paying a lot more for what they're currently getting. So that's what's going on with that. So let's see here. To the next topic. So like I said earlier in the intro, something a little bit more lighthearted right now after that whole political rant. Japan unveils Laundroid, the first laundry folding robot that can wash clothes, dry them as well, and fold them in about 5 to 10 minutes. So Japanese scientists made a laundry robot, wash, dry, and fold them in a neat cupboard. This, guys, would be the best thing ever for college students. Why? We just put our stuff in, it gets washed, it gets dried, we pull it out, you put it in our drawers. It's done. Yay! So, reading this and going, oh man, this is pretty awesome. This is awesome. So, Final Part will come out commercial use by 2018, which might be just Japan, which might mean it will take a few months to a year, maybe 2-3 years after Japan sees how well it works there, see if it comes out, if we can get other places around the world. So I'm hoping, guys, hoping we can get laundry folding robots here. That'd be awesome. Recently, it also says recently a hotel in Japan was launched run entirely by robots. So, yeah, Japan, where robots are made, where robots are refined, because They love the robots and mech genre in general. Alright, so to another Twink Wire thing. And this one, guys, this one's a little bit more lighthearted and a little bit more borderline sciencey too. So wildlife has been blooming in Chernobyl. Like I said, guys, in the intro, Chernobyl, the worst nuclear disaster in the atomic age of the Cold War. You know, a nuclear meltdown happened into one of the reactors. It caused most of Ukraine to become not a barren wasteland, not safe for a while. Chernobyl's still not safe in places, as far as I understand. There's still some places that aren't recommended visitors go. It's not recommended people go to Chernobyl at all until we know for sure it's safe, which might be another 40, 50, 60, 80 years. Because it's been almost 30. No. 2015 minus 1986. It's been 29 years, guys. Almost 30 years since Chernobyl happened. So it's going to take a while longer probably, but we're starting to see like wolves, elk, deer, boar start coming back. They've been seen before, but if they're coming back, it might mean the area is becoming safer, but not probably not all that safe, because they might still get mutations in their DNA from that amount of radiation that they'll be exposed to. So hopefully, and really, guys, this is an interest. Despite it being the worst disaster to ever happen, it's still a good thing that happened, because that way we can make notes of how radiation and how the Earth would recover from something like this in regions. Because it really is interesting to see what happened in different stages of recovery from nuclear incidents. So hopefully this will continue to be updated. Next 10 years, if something else comes up about wildlife in Chernobyl, you can bet I'll be talking about it again, because like I said, guys, Chernobyl, worst nuclear disaster of the atomic age. Still worth mentioning 29, 30 years later in different scenarios. It's still very, very much a thing. So, going from Chernobyl to, like I said, guys, the big piece of news out of Microsoft. They announce the Surface Book. Now, let's see here. This is the website covered tech specs. So what the so some of the stuff that's packed into the Surface Book is a Intel processor. Let me pull up the actual Microsoft product page for it here. Sorry, guys. Okay, tech specs. You can have a Intel processor, the Core i5. This is more likely dual core i5. It's mobile item. Intel i7 with quad core. And then you have an NVIDIA GPU processor right there in the keyboard. The Intel processor is in the tablet portion. The NVIDIA processor, graphics processing unit is in the keyboard. Which is good because if you're trying to do a 3D modeling system of something on this, you'll need that NVIDIA GPU because it's running a display of 3000 pixels by 2000 pixels, which is a ridiculous amount, which is almost 4K. 4K, what we've been calling 4K is 3840 by 2160, guys. So this is almost 4K. So you do need something very substantial to help drive that. An Intel processor could drive that by itself. Hell, it does without the processor without the GPU of the key that's in the keyboard, just on the tablet itself. But you won't, like I said, you won't be able to do any 3D modeling systems with it. It comes with, you can get up to 1 terabyte of solid state storage if we're reading Microsoft. Yeah, storage, solid state drives 128, 256, 512, or 1 terabyte. Awesome. Memory up to 16 gigs of random access memory, 2 full-size USB 3.0s, full-size SD card, Surface Connect. I don't know what that is. Probably a proprietary port, headset jack, mini display port, so you can hook up to any type of display through an adapter. And it weighs almost 4 pounds, or like less than 4 pounds. But what they're saying is 3.34, and that's including the keyboard that's detachable, guys. Wireless connectivity, 802.11 AC Wi-Fi, that's dual band, and 802.11 ABGNN and Bluetooth 4.0. Cameras are 5 megapixel front facing, 8 megapixel rear facing, dual microphones for conferences, and front facing stereo speakers. Thank you. Someone other than HTC who understands the importance of front facing speakers on devices, because really, guys, having speakers right here, that's fine and all, but really, like, I'm using my iPhone, having speakers along here and along here would be better, because that way, if I would be listening to something, it'd be coming out this way. That way, when I'm holding it like this, I'm getting the actual sound, not coming out from here and whatnot. So, yeah, that's that. So this is really awesome, guys, because it's a little bit, it's more the new iPad Pro, but for what you're getting with it, it's justifiable. Really is, guys, because you can full Windows 10 Pro. You can get 128 gigs right off the bat. None of it's like 16 probably. iPad Pro. When does it start off at? 32. Starts off at 32 gigabytes. Wow, 32 gigabytes. If you get the Wi-Fi and cellular edition of the iPad Pro, 128 gigabytes. But for something like this to start off at the 128 gigabyte and going up to 1 terabyte, awesome. I love it. And on top of that, it has 2 different processors, one in the keyboard, one in the tablet itself. You always will see this. Like my system, I have a CPU for CPU intensive tasks. I have the GPU for the GPU intensive tasks. Right now, both are working for making this broadcast. So yeah, this is with Microsoft doing something like this. It's really good to see them paying attention to, like, they've been paying attention to the rules of what Apple's been doing for a while. Even doing what everything else they can to help gain market share back in the tablet industry, since they kind of started way back when, like several years before Steve Jobs and Apple did tablets. But the original Windows tablets, if I remember correctly, weren't very good. So Steve Jobs and Apple took what Microsoft did, made it better, and I'm now seeing Microsoft going, oh yeah, we can do that and more. So good to see competition in the tablet industry from those two. Because if it was just Apple, it'd be horrible. So would I buy the new Surface Book? Absolutely, if I could. If I could. I'm not making any money, guys, doing this. I'm making just enough to survive a while working where I am and going to school at the same time. So it'll take me a while to get a new Surface Book, but by the time I'd have the money for this one, the new one be out. But I'd rather spend that money towards something else. So yeah, that's that, and I guess that's the end of the show. It's only been about 40 minutes, so yay! So see you guys next week. I'll have better topics next week, hopefully. These were just picked today. Didn't really have time to read all of them. Skim through most of them. Like I just said, guys, I need to get homework done tonight, so I had to start the show early. So next week I might start 6 o'clock again. So 6 o'clock next 18th. Actually, guys, I'll be skipping next week. Mostly because I'll be busy, probably doing homework and other stuff, because the 17th is my birthday. I'll be enjoying my birthday with friends and some family who are going to be showing up probably. So hopefully the 25th I'll have a show, broadcast for you guys. So yeah, 25th. Please don't mind the next few minutes here. I gotta check some. I gotta make sure I end broadcast properly on my stuff here. Stuff here. Alright, so see you guys in 2 weeks.